Imagine, you have been chosen. You are going to Mars. The years of dedication and hard work have finally paid off. You launch into space with your fellow astronauts, full of excitement, trepidation, and pride. Then, a month into your mission, you fall and suffer a bad cut. You search in vain for a simple, painless solution to heal your wound, but in the end, the rest of the crew hold you down while one of them staples your wound shut. The next day, your captain pulls out the staples and replaces them with stitches. Local anaesthetic is not an option, and tissue glue is definitely not a good idea in zero gravity. Your wound is painful. It will take weeks to heal, and you will likely be left with a bad scar.
But what if we could heal wounds in days rather than weeks, without stitches, staples or glue, and with minimal scar?
Hi, I'm Jared Chris, CEO of Repair Medical Devices, based in the beautiful Northern Rivers of New South Wales, Australia. I work with a team of award-winning postdoctoral researchers and medical doctors with over 25 years of clinical experience, and we have developed technology to rapidly repair damaged skin. In fact, in a human clinical trial of excision wounds, we were able to remove stitches within 24 hours. Normally, these stitches would need to stay in for at least 10 to 14 days. Our rapid repair wound dressing is a giant leap in wound care. In this presentation, we will outline the advantages of rapid repair over traditional and modern wound closure methods and explain why it works so well. You will also hear the story behind the invention of rapid repair and learn how rapid repair will revolutionize wound healing for all the inhabitants of Earth and beyond.
Wound repair hasn't changed much since the Egyptians started stitching wounds together over 3,500 years ago. Current methods, including stitches, staples and glues, follow the same ancient principle of simply holding the edges of the wound together until the wound heals itself.
These methods are painful and traumatic, as I'm sure many of you know. They require training and skill to apply. The wounds take weeks to heal, and 10% of patients are left with a bad scar that can impact mobility and have lifelong effects upon their physical and mental well-being. The rapid repair wound dressing is a major innovation. It is easy and painless to apply. No local anaesthetic is required. It can be used instead of stitches, staples and glues. It is lightweight, non-invasive, non-toxic, and has a shelf life of over 10 years.
More recent innovations in wound care aim at improving the actions of cells within damaged tissue.
Our technology is different, as it works on a much smaller scale by targeting the alignment of molecules between the cells.
Skin has three main layers. The outside layer is the epidermis. Below that is the dermis, and below the dermis is subcutaneous fat. The dermis consists primarily of the extracellular matrix, made up of collagen, proteoglycans and other molecules. In healthy skin, new collagen and proteoglycan molecules align and attach to the existing matrix. When skin is damaged, the extracellular matrix is disrupted, and the collagen and other molecules flowing into the wound are unable to align properly. Over 4,000 collagen molecules need to align and connect with each other to bridge a 1 millimetre gap.
Rapid repair aims to imitate some of the nanoscale physical properties of intact skin. The rapid repair wound dressing projects a fine virtual scaffold into damaged skin so that the molecules flowing into the wound can align as they would in undamaged skin. This dramatically reduces healing times and produces a minimal scar.
We conducted a human clinical trial on excision wounds where a skin cancer or lesion had been surgically removed. These wounds were closed using conventional stitches, Half the wound was treated with rapid repair and the other half with a control. We were able to remove stitches from the treated side within 1 day without the wounds reopening. Normally, these stitches would need to stay in for at least 10 to 14 days.
A panel of 17 clinicians, including surgeons, primary care physicians and dermatologists, reviewed photos from our clinical trial. These clinicians knew nothing about our research and were simply asked to estimate the age of the wounds based on their experience. They estimated the age of the 1-day-old wounds treated with rapid repair as more than 8 days old. Here is another image of a wound from our clinical trial, taken a year after treatment. The left side of the wound was treated with the control dressing. The right side was treated with rapid repair. You can clearly see the difference in scar outcomes.
Hi, I'm Dr. Nedeljka Rosic, co-founder and Chief Science Officer for Repair Medical Devices. I am an experienced postdoctoral biomedical scientist responsible for designing and coordinating our clinical research. We are currently conducting clinical trials with a team of researchers from the University of Queensland and Southern Cross University to validate our previous findings and quantify the increased healing rates generated by rapid repair. Additional clinical trials are planned for early 2021, and these trials will include using our dressing instead of stitches for children presenting to hospital emergency rooms with accidental lacerations. And also will use our dressing to close surgical incision wounds in operating rooms.
Rapid repair was developed by Dr. Rosemary Craig, who spent decades working in hospitals and clinics treating a range of accidental and surgical wounds.
I found that often the pain and trauma of wound treatment was as bad, if not worse, than the original trauma of the wound. This was particularly true in children who often had to be restrained by a parent while local anaesthetic was administered and the wound stitched closed. There had to be a better way. After many years of research into how the body heals, I identified the bottlenecks in wound healing and how to potentially overcome them. This led to the creation of the first rapid repair prototype. Shortly after, I suffered a full thickness cut to my face. With no other doctors immediately available, I decided to apply the prototype to my own wound, and it worked. Having personally experienced the therapeutic benefits of this dressing, I commenced clinical trials to demonstrate the efficacy of this technology. This research was recognised by the Australian Government's Peak Research Institution, the CSIRO, who have worked with me and my team to commercialise this technology and make rapid repair the gold standard in wound repair on Earth and beyond.
The global wound care market is currently worth around $20 billion with an annual growth rate of over 6%. The largest market is the US, accounting for 35% of all global sales. The fastest growing market is the Asia-Pacific region, with over 8% annual growth. Surgical wounds are the largest market segment, accounting for around 50% of the global wound care market. In addition, the veterinary wound care market is worth more than $1 billion, with an annual growth rate of 7.4%.
Our early adopters include plastic surgeons and dermatologists interested in minimising scars and producing the best possible cosmetic outcomes for their patients. Equine vets are also keen to use our dressing to rapidly repair leg wounds in horses that currently can take up to a year to heal before the horse can return to training.
Our target markets include the treatment of accidental lacerations in hospital emergency rooms and closing surgical wounds in operating rooms. Penetration of these markets will reduce waiting times for patients, reduce the time, material and costs for clinicians treating wounds, and minimise scarring and the risk of infection, leading to further savings within our health systems. The initial form of the rapid repair wound dressing is a Class 1 medical device designed to sit over surgical tape or a similar thin dressing. Rapid repair has been entered on the Australian Register of Therapeutic Goods as a medical device and can be used by doctors throughout Australia. It also meets the Australian regulatory requirements for use on animals. Our current clinical trials have been specifically designed to meet the FDA requirements for registration of our wound dressing in the US market. These trials will be completed by the end of this year. We are also registering this device with regulatory bodies in Europe and Asia.
To register a medical device in most global markets, you need to specify the Global Medical Device Nomenclature Code, or GMDN code. This identifies the type of medical device to be registered. The rapid repair wound dressing is so unique that the GMDN agency had to issue a new GMDN code for our dressing, as no similar medical device had previously been registered anywhere in the world.
We are a self-funded startup with initial sales scheduled for the end of this year. We have received non-diluting grant funding from the Australian Government through the CSIRO ON program. We have partnered with Roma Engineering, a medical device manufacturer in Sydney, to develop full-scale commercial manufacturing of our product. Roma currently manufactures medical devices sold in the US and is registered as a medical device manufacturer with the FDA. Additional Australian Government accelerated commercialisation grants will provide dollar-for-dollar funding to meet the setup costs associated with large-scale manufacturing.
Our first major customer is a network of skin cancer clinics throughout Australia, keen to improve healing and minimise scarring for their patients.
We are currently in negotiations with a major distributor of medical devices throughout Asia and the Middle East. We have also started initial discussions with 2 of the top 3 market leaders in the global wound care market. Our plan is to sell our initial product directly to early adopters within the Australian domestic market. This initial revenue will be used to complete the clinical trials in our key target markets of hospital emergency rooms and operating rooms. The combined strength of our clinical evidence, together with our domestic market traction, will be used to negotiate licensing and distribution deals with large international manufacturers and distributors. The proceeds from these licensing deals will be used to develop the next generation of our wound dressing and also enable the development of new products for the rapid repair of tendons and ligaments using the same underlying patented technology. These new products will be commercialised using the same strategy of gathering clinical evidence to open up additional markets and attract international partners.
We believe our groundbreaking wound healing technology would be ideal for space missions, as our lightweight dressing would not only reduce healing times and improve scars, but also reduce the need to carry needles, stitches, anaesthetics and other dressings currently needed to treat wounds. Our dressing is designed to be safe and effective in micro and zero-gravity environments. Our dressing's long shelf life would ensure our interplanetary explorers can be healed throughout the entire length of their mission to Mars and back.
We are keen to talk with strategic partners who can help bring the rapid repair wound dressing into the US market. In particular, we are looking for potential licensees and distributors in both the human and veterinary markets. We are also interested in discussing the benefits of our product for Defence Force personnel. If you are interested, please contact us via email, our website, or via social media. Rapid Repair is a unique product that will revolutionise wound care by increasing the rate of healing while decreasing scarring and the risk of infection. Our dressing can be used across a wide range of applications for both humans and animals. From humble beginnings in a small rural Australian town, the Rapid Repair wound dressing has
Hello, my name is Kay, co-founder and COO of Oma Technologies. When we think about the astronauts and the NASA, we often think about this type of image. But in truth, astronauts spend the majority of their time on Earth training using simulations or virtual reality devices like these. The goal is to accurately track their movements and interactions to replicate as realistic an experience as possible. But Does this seem affordable, comfortable, or easy to use? I think most of us will say no. And even if you're that guy on the left who's clearly having a lot of fun, I'm here to tell you there's a new and better way to do things, to effortlessly track their movements, to really immerse them in virtual training scenarios. Introducing Orbit, the world's first permanent magnet-based precision tracking system. A two-part system consisting of a magnetic field generator containing our patented mechanism and a permanent magnet to create an omnidirectional 75 centimeter tracking radius, and tiny sensors as small as 0.8 millimeter, that tiny dot at the end, small enough to be embedded or attached to any object, and as precise as 0.2 millimeter to accurately interpret the user's interactions. Now, there are certain criteria that you must meet in order to be considered the perfect precision tracking system. First, you must be versatile, meaning you can handle different types of environments. Second, you must be scalable, so you can go from supporting a single sensor to 100 sensors. And most fundamentally, you must be precise. Without precision, everything is lost. To show you why these traits are so important, here's an area that we're already closely collaborating with our partners: jet fighter pilot training. The goal is to first track the pilot's head movement to understand what he's looking at, and then to also track his hands and finger movements to interpret his interactions with the environments and how he's controlling the jet. It's obviously an incredibly challenging environment for the pilot, and also a very difficult place to incorporate a precision tracking system. It is a confined space with a lot of occlusions, a lot of different objects, pilot's body itself that's blocking that straight line of sight. So with so much occlusions, it's practically impossible to place a camera, for instance. It has a lot of signal sources and metallic interferences. So if you can't handle those, then you can't maintain the precisions either. Now, I didn't mention this earlier, but look at the amount of hardware and all the wires hanging around with this legacy system. These kind of systems simply cannot be incorporated into a mission-critical fighter jet or a Martian rover for that matter. Now, here are the unique benefits of our system that makes us so much better than the legacy systems. First, we independently track each sensor, whereas the legacy systems require at least 3 sensors to achieve our level of precision. Our sensor is small enough to be embedded or attached to any object. And because we use magnetic field, you don't have to worry about the occlusion, and you can track the sensors in all directions. A single magnetic field generator can support unlimited sensors. No calibration is required. The system is ready to go, and there are no complicated procedures or setups to follow. And we combat interferences. Our system runs at an incredibly low 15 Hz frequencies and is able to compensate for metallic distortions in the environment. You may find 1 or even 2 of these advantages in some of the legacy systems, but none can have all of these except us. Now, to show you that it really does exist, here's a short clip of our prototype. This white base station here is our magnetic field generator of older design. Now it is redesigned and it's a lot smaller. Considers of precision, precise enough to track each fingertips. No occlusion in any direction, so you can track all around, even under the table. And unlike the cameras that require specific lighting condition, we can track in the dark. Can handle significant amount of metallic interferences. There is a range of limitations, but we offer a absolute positioning, so it allows instantaneous recovery without recalibrating the whole system. We built this technology with a skeleton crew of just 6 full-time members in a little over 3 years. We raised over $2.6 million and have 3 patents granted. Here are the 6 full-time members and all the great places that we've been part of. But we obviously want to be known for creating this technology and for being part of OMO. So with just these 6 full-time members, we cover the full stacks from mechanical engineering to electrical, signal processing, software, algorithm, the lot of it. And while our ambition is space high, our fit is grounded in reality, and we found our product market fit in the surgical navigations market. So we did this by forming a strategic partnership with a company that has over 30 years of experience in the market. They have presence in over 4,600 hospitals all around the world, and they process over 250,000 surgeries per year, each surgery consuming 48 disposable sensors. This is important because with this single partnership alone, we expect to generate a $37 million worth of system revenue. That's by selling these magnetic field generator. But we also expect to generate a peripheral revenues of $35 million. In other words, by selling our tiny sensors. These numbers are annually recurring because each year you're processing new cases of surgeries, and these numbers will only grow as the adoption grows. So obviously a market where our unique benefits really shine by placing a single magnetic field generator next to the patient. You now have the ability to track those disposable sensors or sensor embedded tools within this tracking volume, even inside the patient's body, because magnetic field can effortlessly penetrate and harmlessly penetrate our body. So if you look at the legacy systems like the NDI Aurora, that's pretty much been the market standard for the past 2 decades, you can just see how bulky the setup is and how complicated the setup is. It's almost like having an entire PC. So if you put our system in the picture, so here's NDI Aurora, and that's just the magnetic field generator. And here is all of our system, and we don't require any excess hardwares. You can see just how smaller our system is, and ours work wirelessly too. And that's not all. The legacy systems cost about $200,000. The complicated setups, and while their tracking can be quite precise, it only works in a very specific environment. Compared to that, our system right now costs less than $1,000 to make. Very simple setup. We offer versatile, scalable, and precise tracking. But we're not putting all of our eggs in that basket either. In the medical field, we have over 100 customers waiting to pilot our system for use cases such as liver ablations, biopsies, rehabilitations, capsule endoscopy, and many more. Training and simulations, defense, as well as enterprise customers that have been using NDI Aurora or similar legacy systems can't wait to replace those legacy systems soon enough. It's already a huge market, and it's expected to become a whopping $579 billion market in 2027. Virtual and augmented reality, it's been a dormant industry, but now considered one of the best tools in the era of social distancing. Expected to grow really rapidly to become $346 billion market by 2026. Digital twin, where you create a digital copy of physical assets to manage or even actively run operations remotely. Now, this concept may sound new, but it was actually NASA that first used this in 1970 to course correct Apollo 13 from the ground. So this is obviously an area where NASA could benefit greatly from having a precision tracking system. And this image in the background could very well be that of International Space Station being operated, managed from the ground, or a satellite that's going under repair via remotely operated robots. It's a concept that is becoming more and more mainstream throughout the industries, expected to become a $57 billion market by 2027. Now, if you do a simple math, then we have over $1 trillion worth of a total addressable market. So how will we do it? If you look at the technology stacks by capabilities chart over here, we have our first market that we can enter right now with our current capabilities, the surgical navigation market. We choose these markets where position tracking is the most fundamental technology stack in the target markets. We integrate with the market leaders to set the standard for what the precision tracking systems can do. And we become such an integral part of the overall technology stack that we become very difficult to replace because everything else is built on top of it. And we expand into the next market by improving our capabilities by offering things like larger range or better sensors. So we go from surgical navigations to training and simulations to digital twins to virtual and augmented reality and so on. And in order to unlock these massive untapped potentials, we're working on both our hardware and software capabilities. While it may seem like our innovation is all in hardware, what actually makes it all work is our secret algorithm and software capabilities. In order to attract new users and developers and customers, we will be putting out custom applications, license our SDK, and offer native support for cloud services, the kind that can support the digital twin applications for everyone. So if we play our hands right, we have opportunity to create a platform upon which an entirely new next generation computing platform could be built upon. Like I said, our ambition is space high. In terms of the schedule, we right now have our engineering validation test units being shipped and tested by our partners right now. After a couple of iterations, we'll be well on our way to mass production in early 2021. We're also going through a fundraising right now, raising a target of $3 million or less, with the goal of getting our product to market, making additional hires, and forming additional strategic partnerships. We have over half of that raised already, and hoping to finalize that by the end of next month. To give you a last and closer look at the potential of our technology, let's go back to training and simulations. Imagine you are training for an F-16 fighter jet. You can possibly start with the F-16 fighter jet, so you start out with a very cool looking car. Now, since a single magnetic field generator can't cover the entire area, what we can do is daisy chain these multiple tracking areas to cover much larger area. This is a capability that is requested very often and one that we will be supporting very soon. But let's say you're too cool for this car and you tell them, I don't want to go to work, I want to work from home. In this case, what we can do is to create a form factor where the magnetic field generator constantly moves with you, so you're always inside the tracking zone. This way, you can not only interact with the physical assets, but you also have an ability to interact with a much larger digital assets, such as virtual reality at a real-world scale. The Matrix, the Oasis, the Second Life, whatever it is called or will be called, you will always need a way to interact with it. And you will need to look no further than our permanent magnet-based precision tracking system. Thank you for your time.
Healthcare professionals are potentially exposed to airborne pathogens like influenza, smallpox, and COVID-19 daily. And though surgical masks and N95 respirators are commonly used to safeguard against infection, they are proving to be less effective than previously thought, especially when reused. KHN.org reported that as of August 2020, over 900 healthcare professionals have died after contracting COVID-19. With 4 members in my family in the healthcare fields as nurses, I wanted to ensure their safety as they help keep America healthy. I'm Chris Miller with Organic Nano, and I'm here to tell you about our new and innovative respirator that can filter and actively destroy dangerous airborne pathogens.
This began back in January. Miller, who is currently a PhD candidate at Louisiana Tech University, came up with the idea while running. Soon, he began working with some other classmates to develop a brand new N95 mask.
These masks actually filter particles at 50 nanometers, and that's a significant number because COVID-19 exists between 60 and 140 nanometers.
Half of his team works with nanomedicine research and the other half with Organic Nano, where they use 3D printing to create their masks. These two things are what forms their company, Organic Nano.
Chances are, when you are out in public, you are wearing a surgical or cloth mask. What if I told you that you are not as protected as you think? Well, that is the reality. Cloth and surgical masks were not designed to filter air as you inhale. They are only designed to capture respiratory droplets as you exhale. N95 respirators are only designed to filter 95% of particles that are 300 nanometers or larger. That's just not good enough. Viral particles can be much smaller than 300 nanometers. In fact, COVID-19 particles can be as small as 60 nanometers. Our respirators can filter these minute particles through more than just electrostatic forces. The COVID-19 System Study app reported positive COVID-19 tests of healthcare professionals was disproportionately high when compared to the general population in both the United States of America and the UK. The bar graph pictured here illustrates just how lopsided these numbers are. Healthcare professionals are supposed to have access to the best PPE available too. And clearly, something is going on. There are many reported cases of healthcare professionals going to work with COVID-19 systems that are unreported as well. Furthermore, even with the mandate of using masks while on public transits, the CDC reported thousands of people were exposed to coronavirus while on commercial flights. Necessity is the mother of invention. Mankind needed a better respirator, so we created a better respirator. Our mask has many qualities that allow it to outperform our current competitors, such as a face shield attachment, interchangeable filters, and a mask that actually molds to anyone's face, including children. Our filter has a pore size of approximately 50 nanometers, and unlike our competitors, our mask can be sanitized via such as a face shield attachment, interchangeable filters, and a mask that actually molds to anyone's face, including children. Our filter has a pore size of approximately 50 nanometers,